This is the 2016 Christmas episode of Grace and Steel. I'm Kevin Steele.
And I'm Kevin Michael Grace.
And just like our Christmas show last year, we're going to take a break from politics. We're going to spike the eggnog, put on the carols, and then settle into large comfy chairs in front of a crackling fire. We'll reminisce about Christmases past. And of course, we'll kick off our Christmas fundraiser for the podcast by pointing to the donate button on our website, twokevins.com. So, if you like what you hear...
3CP1 on your dial, Russian television.
This is Igor from Nizhny Novgorod, Commissar of Russian Troll Army. Everything you hear, we control.
Okay. So just like everything in North America, our Christmas show has been hacked.
Yeah, you think you are immune? No one is immune.
Well, I think this means war. It might mean that we...
Again, war? You want war? You have war with us, we win.
Okay, maybe this just means we'll have to talk about politics or something un-Christmassy.
How about something we invented, like pizzagate? You want to talk about that?
Okay, so let's talk Pizzagate. Igor. Since having a hard time with this. Okay, Igor.
No, not Igor, Igor.
Igor.
Okay? Igor.
Igor. How do the Russians view Pizzagate?
Well, you know, we invented. We invented to destroy, as you Americans say. Well, no, Americans, Canadians, whatever, it's all the same to us. How to destroy Hillary Clinton Democratic Party. We make it up. You fools believe it.
Okay. Well, I'm kind of sold on the idea. I think we need a scandal of this size to, maybe shake up Washington and drain the swamp. We've on this show been kind of behind it, skeptical, yet, I don't know whether we should be thanking the Russians or hating on them for getting us this far. Certainly getting Donald Trump elected. Was that you guys?
You see Megyn Kelly interview James Alefantis? You see that?
Yes, yeah.
This Megyn Kelly woman, I don't know what's wrong with you North Americans. Apparently she top sexy woman where you live. Is this true?
No, actually I'm in Canada. And North America? I believe I said North America. Yeah, okay, right. Well, I guess she is.
You are North America. She top sexy woman, right?
Okay.
I can assure you, Megyn woman not top sexy woman in Russia. Yeah. She nowhere near top of sexiness. She down there, okay? She have chin like potato.
Oh, really? I thought she had a chin like an ice pick. Okay.
Well, no, you make good joke. I must congratulate you on good joke.
Okay, all right. Is Kevin around there anywhere?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. What's new on the Pizzagate front? Apparently we got to talk politics this episode. No fun for us.
Yeah, and we have to talk about a particularly distressing topic. I'll just say let's try and get this out of the way as quickly as we can, because it's not very Christmassy, is it?
Well, as long as we keep the Russians happy.
Yeah, they invented Christmas, didn't they? Wasn't St. Nicholas Russian?
Okay. I thought he was Dutch. No, that was.
I thought he was Turkish, but
okay.
Right. Never mind. But you get my point.
Right.
What did you see James Alefantis on Megyn Kelly?
Yes, I did. Cut up in bits, but I was watching it through the eyes of one of the Pizzagate podcasters.
Oh, okay. Well, I understand that Megyn Kelly is not a reporter.
Mm-hmm.
She hosts a talk show.
Yeah.
That said, I was shocked by this.
Mm-hmm.
Because she seems to have confused her role.
Right.
Because she seems to believe that she's an agony aunt.
Yeah.
Because the whole tone of the interview was, where did Pizzagate touch you, James? Like, show us. Here's a doll. Please show us where Pizzagate touched you.
Okay. Yeah. Actually, somebody tweeted out a whole list of questions she could have asked Elephantis. It makes a great list, and hopefully I can find that, dig it up with the links. All the questions she could have asked but didn't.
But there's something I wanted to say here, and I was watching this video, which I sent you by email earlier today. I don't know whether you looked at it.
This was the computer.
The magic bullet theory.
Yeah.
Which is the magic bullet which no one heard go off from an AR-15, no less, that not only penetrated the lock of the door, but somehow destroyed a computer after that. Did you catch that?
Yeah. Well, it might go to how well the place is soundproofed, which is interesting in itself. You know, the whole fact that a shot may have gone off, and there was that great video. Hopefully, I'll link to that as well. With this woman had a couple of friends go in. This came out after our podcast. She had a couple of friends go down there, spent like 3 or 4 hours in the place, and they actually went to the back. They asked, what's in the back? And they were told a bar was in the back. And yes, you can go back there. They had seen a group of men go back there. So they look behind the curtain, and there's an empty bar. The men that
they look behind the curtain. It's like the joke, and again, I'll make a Seinfeld reference. Like, what's behind the curtain? Oh, here's the curtain where the first-class people are living in luxury that you peons are not allowed to experience, right? Except there's an empty room covered with dust, with some, how would I put it, irritated person saying, what are you doing in here?
Yeah, the bar is closed.
Yes.
And then at the back of the bar, there's another curtain. Okay.
Yeah. So. And all of those men that we saw pass through there before, they seem to have disappeared. What happened to them? Yeah,
that was probably the most conclusive evidence that I saw. That it made me think of speakeasies that I, in my troubled youth, visited youth, what can I say? I was in my mid-20s. In Montreal, they'd always have this sort of false front bar or a bar that was open during the day, right? And, it was very quiet and shut down. But at night, of course, through the back doors, you'd have all the roaring stuff going on, right? I'm pretty sure that's what was going on. I'm pretty sure what was behind that curtain at the back was another door. And I'm not sure. I wasn't too sure about the orientation in that Elephantis clip. That he was at a red... He was in a place where the walls were painted all bright red. And there was a door at the back of the picture. I'm not sure which way that door went. I'll have to investigate that.
Well, the video that you were talking about earlier, the people who went underground, as it were. Of course, there's no basement there. There's no basement, as we heard from Megyn Kelly. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, is there a basement? Not a basement? This seems to be a matter of dispute, because didn't Elephantis admit at one point there was a basement?
Well,
but no, I know it's just
that's a basement.
Yeah, that's not really important.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, I got the impression from that investigative video that there appears to have been some sort of secret gay club, like 2 curtains beyond, where people were eating pizza.
Something like that. She did see a couple of young girls, or her friends saw a couple of young girls come out from the back and play foosball for an hour and go back eventually.
Yeah, not the ones who were foosball. Play foosball, damn it! You're here to play foosball.
Yeah, well, it's worth.
I want to go home. I want to go home. Play foosball.
Definitely an interesting video if it's all true. And they did take pictures as well. And, they talk about this place being kid friendly, but it's the pictures these people came back with. The place looked just freaking weird. They went for this deliberate distressed look, right?
No, exactly. Like the broken tiles in the bathroom.
Right, yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And we know about kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
We know what they like. They like brightness and light and shiny colors that make adults sick, right?
Yeah.
They don't like dark, distressed, industrial settings.
Yeah, not even like a romper room or, somebody's basement. It was worse than that. It was like abandoned parkade. That's the look that he went for.
Meat packing plant. Abandoned meat packing plant.
Yeah.
And I make that reference deliberately, by the way. Some people will understand what I mean. Others won't. Never mind. Let's move on.
Yeah, there was a neat little development in Trump's last speech, his last visit of his little thank you tour. I don't know if you caught this, where at the end of the speech, he made a rather interesting statement that really lit up the Pizzagate investigators' hearts. They were all extremely thrilled to hear it. Did you catch that?
No.
Okay, well, I'm going to play that clip for you. He's talking about the jobs moving overseas and legislation. They're going to pass legislation to, bring in tariffs and things like that. This is what he said.
We're going to write up that legislation very soon. And when they leave, there are going to be consequences. And you know what's going to happen, though, honestly? They're not going to leave. Not going to work. Their model no longer works. The politicians got taken care of by campaign contributions or something else. If it's something else, Jeff Sessions will catch them, right? He will. He will catch them. Oh, I wouldn't want to be them. But their politicians got taken care of by campaign contributions or whatever, because it's incredible that we've lost so much.
That whole something else and whatever, that's what the Pizzagate guys were thrilled to hear. This implication that, these guys were bribed with something else.
Right.
And from that, they took...
Well, you mean like hot dogs from Chicago?
Yeah. Or something else. Pizza.
Yeah.
Or things like this. They were just over the moon with this, because it came right at the end of his last speech in Alabama, where he had started it all off, of course. And that's where...
Right.
It actually was kind of an interesting little speech that he gave, because he introduced Sessions again. This was kind of a recap of the first one that they had where they kicked it all off, right? So it was kind of one of those triumphant tour things that if you've been following this whole thing all the way through, it was kind of fun to watch. Anyways, yeah, so from that, do you take anything from that? Or do you think it's just, an offhand reference to maybe bribes paid on the side?
I don't know. The difficulty with what you're telling me now goes back to the famous saying that when the only tool you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the Pizzagate people are looking for occult meanings in everything, in the same way that the Pizzagate people have ascribed occult meanings to everything.
Right. Yeah.
We can't help thinking like them.
Right.
Because nothing that they say is open.
Right. Well,
in its meaning, that is.
Yeah. I think that we're at the point where both sides have overplayed their hand, and the both sides that I'm referring to are the online investigators, and the other side, of course, is the James Alefantis.
No, I don't. No, I gotta disagree with you. I'm not going to have this false equivalency here, okay? Because the Pizzagate people are asking questions. Some people are making charges. It is not in the remit of people who are not policemen or government authorities to be wholly responsible in everything. It is the duty of the authorities to be responsible. And I have to mention in this respect that Megyn Kelly kept saying, oh, well, the D.C. police have totally dismissed this. She mentioned this at least twice, maybe 3 times. And I'm thinking, yes. Why don't you go to the D.C. police website and they will have a list of all their ongoing investigations?
Yeah, but
because that's what we do.
But
we let the people, we let the bad guys know exactly who we're investigating. That's the only fair way, don't you think?
Yeah, but you're kind of misinterpreting what I was going to say, because you didn't give me a chance to say it. And that is, they've gone as far as they can with their investigation. I really think it's to the point now where the investigators have to take over. And I think perhaps they have. And the way the other side has gone too far is, in their defense, it's so unreasonable. If the authorities weren't aware of what was going on or didn't think an investigation was warranted, I believe they probably have one underway based on this furious reaction from the people that are defending it. Because, why is Megyn Kelly interviewing some pizza owner? On her show.
No, you're right about that. You're right about that. And we have the Streisand effect here. Okay.
Yeah.
That the denials only strengthen the belief of people that there's something being hidden.
and exposing it to new curious people as well.
Yeah, and I'll give you a specific example of that. That I had read about Megyn Kelly's interview, and I only watched it today because there were other things about, this coup d'etat, which is happening against Trump. And so I thought, well, I'm going to be invested in that. So I let Pizzagate slide for a couple of days, right? Mm-hmm. But Megyn Kelly shows one of James Alefantis' now hidden Instagram photos. And it's the notorious one of the girl who is, like 4 years old?
Right, yeah.
And she is, there's masking tape binding her to a table, right?
Yeah.
This is my goddaughter. Oh, and this is a perfectly innocent photo. And we had everyone's approval. Who thinks that it's a good idea to put out this kind of photograph to the world? Because, everyone takes photographs of young children being bound to a table, right? What, are you crazy?
Did you see that comment by that one guy that said he showed it to his wife and she pointed out something that everybody seemed to have missed? And he said it's probably something that men would miss, but women would pick up on.
Go on.
She said of that picture, why is there a man standing behind the girl with an erection?
Oh, I didn't notice the erection. Again, not very Christmassy.
Yeah.
But the headless man looming in the background, that hit me right from the very beginning. Hey, let's take a picture, let's take an image which is intrinsically creepy of a 4-year-old or so girl bound to a table, and let's have a headless man lurking right behind her.
Yeah. Weird stuff. Well, like I say, I think it's at the point now where they've brought enough attention, mainstream media attention to it, that, if the authorities weren't curious before, they certainly should be now. And,
no, but I want to point something out with regard to the interview that, we've gone over this, that I have been making a habit when I engage with these people on Twitter. And they have said, blah, blah, Pizzagate, fake news, etc. I have said to them, have you looked at Alefantis' Instagram posts? And from most people, silence. Okay? Mm-hmm. From a couple of people, and you'll remember this, they said, oh, yeah, I looked at the picture and there's nothing to it. Oh, the picture? Well, there were hundreds or thousands of pictures he made to his Instagram account. The collection, which everyone has seen, is about 80, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's
there is a top picture. The top picture is a baby with an open mouth with pizza in it, right? And it's like you never forget your first time, which frankly is just so weird to begin with. This idea, you never get your first time, everyone understands this is a sexual reference, right?
Yeah. That is, yes. Okay.
Yeah. But no, they look at what I realized, the people who actually responded to my demand that they look at the Instagram pictures, that they looked at the first one and said, yeah, that's enough. I don't need to look at any more, right? Mm-hmm. So what Megyn Kelly did is she asked Alefantis to explain or justify one picture. And I thought, well, it's strange that you never asked him about the Hotard picture. Mm-hmm. It's strange that you never asked him about the chicken lovers picture. It's strange that you never asked him about the picture of the guy at the beach with the great buns and all that. And there's a kid in the picture, and that people are referencing the kid in the picture. And one of them is saying, well, we know what this kid wants, right? Mm-hmm. What, a man's buttocks? What?
Yeah, she asked him about the one picture he had already in another interview given an explanation for, if I recall. This wasn't the first time he had tried to explain away that picture of the girl taped to the ping pong table. Or no, there is
an example of,
it's not a table.
And I guess I will look this up, and we can find a link to it, because it's a well-known, rather notorious picture of a famous Hollywood person, and this child is bound in a chair, okay? It's like, these are the sort of pictures that everyone makes, and no, they don't. No, they don't. And, especially these days, the stuff on Alephantis's Instagram is like, no one would think that this is innocent. No one. It's just you would have to be far gone to even consider that this was innocent. And the question to do with Megyn Kelly is, I rather suspect that she saw one Instagram picture. That's my guess.
Oh, okay.
That she didn't see any of the others. And they don't want to see any of the others for this reason. That if they saw any of the others, they would have to deal with the reality of those pictures.
In other words, it's just avoidance. It's not collusion. It's just avoidance. Well, it could be.
But essentially they're the same thing.
Yeah, one you're actively told to do it. The other one you're just avoiding it because, you want to fit in with cool kids. There was a really interesting piece by David Cole on Tacky's magazine site where he was poo-pooing the whole idea of Pizzagate and drawing an equivalency there with the McMartin sex scare of the 80s, where it was all tied in with all the satanic stuff, et cetera, et cetera. And he was saying, well, this is just a rerun of that. But the difference is, of course, he's happy that it's happening because these degenerates, or the liberals, as he was saying, they have nothing else, no other way of being edgy other than to make these, references, these jokey jokes about child sex abuse and stuff like this. That's the only way they have left of being edgy, because they've sort of put everything else out of bounds, except for this, gender stuff and kid jokes. And so that's all they were doing, was just signaling to each other that they're edgy. I didn't buy it, but it's an interesting perspective.
One would expect that comparisons would be made of the hysteria of the late 80s, early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'll give you a couple examples in that respect. I think there's profound differences. As other people have pointed out, including our friend Ryan Landry, the people who were nailed, even imprisoned for these earlier scandals, were all very low-rent people.
Mm-hmm.
The people that we're talking about now are very high-rent people.
Yeah.
There were specific claims that were made in the prosecution, and Dorothy Rabinowitz and others simply demolished these claims. But I'll mention two in particular, and one of which Rabinowitz never wrote about. That in the Martinsville case in Saskatchewan, part of the prosecution claim was one of these kids had a nipple bitten off. And this woman who worked for David Orchard, the political activist from Saskatchewan, said, why don't they simply examine all these children to see whether any of them are missing a nipple?
So you examine these children, you mean?
Examine the children to see whether any of them are missing a nipple. Right?
Okay.
Because that's not the sort of thing that anyone can hide.
Yeah.
This is a serious injury. Now, when I worked in San Diego in 1994 to 1995, there was a huge settlement that the local authorities made to a janitor who was like 85, 90 IQ, right?
Okay.
At a local school. This was what he was prosecuted for. That he rounded up these children from the school where he worked in San Diego. That he spirited them out of the school with no one noticing, that they were driven to an airport in San Diego, flown to Sacramento, California, molested satanically, then flown back to San Diego and insinuated back into the school with no one noticing.
Right.
Now,
complete impossibility.
Who would believe such a thing? I say who would believe such a thing, but people did believe it at the time. Now, the main body of the Pizzagate charge, very few people are making specific allegations of this type. Would you agree?
Yeah, there isn't anything like that yet. No, they
Well, no, I mean, Megyn Kelly did run a clip from Alex Jones, which was rather spare, one might say. Hillary Clinton doing monstrous things, blah, blah, blah. chopping people up or whatever. He may have been speaking metaphorically or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps his clip was taken out of context, but Alex Jones is known to be rather spare in his expression, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of like being, how would we say, expansive.
Oh, yeah. I saw him bawling about this actually on one clip a while back before the election. Go ahead.
No, but my point is that for the most part, the Pizzagate investigators are asking questions and they are examining coincidences.
Mm-hmm.
And they're looking at the question of probability. We've mentioned Jimmy Savile, the legendary English DJ, going back to the Beatles' time, who was a fixture, a giant figure in British public life for close to half a century, who shortly after his death, was revealed to be a pedophilic monster. Right?
Yeah. This ground's been covered. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well plowed field.
Well, the point about Jimmy Savile is that everyone just looked the other way the whole time.
Mm.
Him and Cyril Smith, the what would they call him? The 30 stone, that being 14 pounds, right?
Yeah. 14.
30 stone, I guess 420 pound liberal MP, the beloved liberal MP, that he and Jimmy Savile were constantly, they were at orphanages and, public hospitals and children, and these people aren't social workers, nurses, etc. Why are they be giving access to children? Why would they be interested in children in this way? There were all these obvious warning signs that everyone decided to ignore. And, when these two were alive, there were claims that were made about them. Oh, this is preposterous. In the same way that Rotherham was preposterous, right?
Yeah, Pizzagate's preposterous as well. Same way that is being
and
dismissed.
as that fellow at UNS pointed out, that the only reason that the investigations into Rotherham went anywhere was because of a bunch of deplorable right-wing bloggers. Because it turned out that the council was covering this up and abetting it, that the police were covering up and abetting it, and the Home Office, the British government, was covering it up and abetting it.
Yeah.
And this went on for a decade.
Well, in the case of Savile and Smith, it went on to the end of their lives. None of this news broke during their lifetimes. It was all a post-mortem, so...
No,
But
I mean,
I
just wanted to mention the idea of fake news. 'Cause Megyn Kelly is fake news. Look, I understand you're a talk show host and not a reporter. But, oh yeah, you've heard something about James Alefantis' Instagram posts. What we're asking you to do, what I'm asking you to do, and what other people are asking you to do, is to spend 5 to 10 minutes of your time to scroll through 80 or so Instagram posts and then to ask yourself, would a normal man post these pictures and these comments?
Yeah. Easy enough
Is that
to do.
so hard to do?
Apparently it is for her. She should have assistants to do that for her.
No, I mean, I want to get technical here for a moment, all right? I was a reporter, you were a reporter. Now, it happened to you that people would come to you. This happens to every reporter, and they have a story for you, right? And the story involves spending dozens of hours reading reports that you don't really have the expertise to understand, right? You know what I'm talking about?
Right, yeah.
What we're asking of all these people who are dismissing Pizzagate, is to spend 5 to 10 minutes to look to less than 100 of James Alefantis' Instagram post and say, okay, what do you think of him now? And they're not up to it, apparently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is the rather interesting aspect to this, because it encompasses, of course, the very elite of the American media. New York Times, Washington Compost, as one guy likes to call it on YouTube. I thought that was a nasty little dig. It was good. I might use that. But anyways, yeah, the very cream of the American media. And I just wanted to throw in, because we did see this come back on Drudge the other day, and that was this birther thing reemerging as well. Simply want to point out that when they put down the birther people, they did it through the similar methods that they're using in Pizzagate. They didn't offer any explanations for why the birth certificate wasn't being produced. They simply called them crazy repeatedly, so that you couldn't discuss that topic without being branded a crazy. That was their technique then. That is their technique now. It worked then. It's not working now, and that's the interesting thing. And
well, no, I mean, to give you a specific example of that when the second version of the second definitive version of the birth certificate was produced, and it turned out to be a PDF document with layers,
yeah,
that we were all supposed to pretend that we hadn't noticed that.
Yeah, I know. I think I was on the phone to you when I did that. I actually followed somebody's directions at the time it was released, and I actually put this on Gab the other day. I followed the directions, went to the White House website, downloaded the document, looked at the layers. The layers were there. You could turn them on and off. It was a forgery. There's no doubt about it. If it wasn't a forgery, then it was a really bizarre way of putting together a document and displaying it online. And my theory at the time, that I still stand by, is that the person who did that forgery made the assumption that PDF would automatically flatten the layers as older versions of Photoshop used to do. You save a JPEG. If you save a Photoshop document as a JPEG, it flattens the layers for you. It used to be PDF did the same thing. Then they added layers. So that's the reason I brought that up.
No, but it's routine. Yeah. It's routine now, and this happens to me all the time. That I make these very simple graphics in Windows Paint, right?
Yeah.
And then when I'm about to save them, it informs me that it's about to flatten layers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this, this mystical mumbo jumbo of layers. No one knows about that. Are you kidding us?
Mm-hmm.
We all know about layers.
Well, no, but it's you might know about layers, and he was working in layers, obviously. But I think he was working as a Photoshop, and then he saved it as a PDF. This is my theory, thinking that it was similar to a JPEG as it used to be, that it automatically flattened it, and you don't get a notification. Do you want to flatten the layers when you save as a JPEG? That happens automatically. So the
right.
real question in the birther thing, of course, is why was this forgery issued? We don't know that. If it comes back, that'll be the question. Why did they issue this forgery?
Well, we know one thing.
Yeah.
We know one thing for sure. That something is being hidden.
Yeah.
I mean, the smart money is apparently that it's not the question of Obama having been born in Hawaii. It's that something else was being hidden.
Yeah.
And if it's not Obama being born in Hawaii, then it must have to do, what's left? His parentage, I guess.
Yeah, parentage, maybe open, like the father. I'm not sure.
Yeah, the father. That's where the smart money is.
Based on what I've seen, all I can say is that was a forgery, and why was that issued? Maybe they just never had. They couldn't find the proper document.
No, I remember when the late lamented Lawrence Oster went into this on his website, and all these tech guys said, "Look, this is phony, and I'll show you how it's phony, and I'll explain this in language that even you will understand." Right?
Mm-hmm.
And he did, and I read the same thing. And I'm not a tech guy, but, I've been working with computers for a long time. And I know, unlike Kurt Eichenwald, that say that there's nothing unusual about a laptop holding 450,000 emails.
650,000, I think it was.
Sorry, because most emails are about 2K in size, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not big files, right?
What about all that white space?
Yeah. And this was explained on Lawrence Oster's site, and I said, well, yeah, this is obviously a fake.
Hmm. Yeah, like I say, it's going to come back, because I think there's a lawsuit pending after Obama leaves office against him based on that forgery. And, we might get an explanation at that time. The point is, that I was trying to make. Not only did I want to brag about checking out the layers back then, but I also wanted to say that's exactly how they shut the debate down. And I remember very specifically, David Frum was one of the big screamers at the time about the birther thing. He really drove home the point that anybody who questioned Obama's legitimacy as the president based on the birther thing was a crackpot. And he's doing the same thing now on Pizzagate.
Yeah, well, I could point out that the president who was 2 before Obama, that's to say Bill Clinton, we don't really have any reliable information as to who Bill Clinton's father was.
Yeah.
Apparently not an interesting story.
Not in this day of general fatherlessness, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah, he had a brother too, so maybe
before we leave off Pizzagate, and I think we should because it's a dark and depressing and un-Christmassy story.
That's right.
I just found it fascinating that the YouTube video that you mentioned highlighted this, that Alefantis and Megyn Kelly insinuated this magic bullet theory into the eruption by the guy who had actually started a movie about pizza, right?
Yeah, what was that all about?
Yeah, okay.
I mean,
yeah,
I can't.
All right.
I'm just getting confused now.
This guy's obviously nuts, right?
Right, okay.
But so the lock was blown off with a bullet, and I'm thinking, really? Because that's the sort of thing that we all see. We've seen in hundreds or thousands of Hollywood movies and TV shows that they blow a lock off, and I'm thinking, is that really as easy as it seems on the screen? I don't think that it is, but this magic bullet went through the door, went through the lock, went through the door, and then traveled 6 to 8 feet and then disabled a computer.
Took a hard right.
Yeah.
Hit him in the wrist. Yeah. And then dropped to the floor.
Yeah, that is one magic loogie.
Yeah. Oh, man. No, that's okay. Yeah, we'll leave it on that. The magic loogie theory. We should move on to a happier topic, and that is the Russians. I mean, I know our Russian overlords are listening right now, and they want to take credit for this election. And, of course, there's some people out there doing some damn fine work trying to alert the American people that their government has been taken over by Vladimir Putin.
No. You don't know, as you say there in your country, you don't know half of it.
Okay.
You remember, people notice Hillary Clinton gets large. You know, large in her body.
Right.
You know, like she gets huge, like fat, right? And people wonder, why is she blowing up like balloon, right? And I can tell you, because I know, all right? Because, like, we hack her diet, all right? That she has this low fat, you know, all these things that the Americans eat, you know, eat, you never get fat, right? We hack her diet. So she thinks she's eating low fat. Instead, she's eating high fat. So we put her on 5,000 calorie diet, right?
Yeah, those
and
gigantic
then
dumplings.
She just gets big. So like her pantsuit have to get larger, have to get like tent to disguise.
Yeah, really stirring in the 14% sour cream into that borscht, yeah. Well done, guys. But I don't think that's why she lost the election, you know. Maybe that's why she collapsed, you know. But as far as the Russians, you know, let's get serious here. They have offered much less proof for the Russians hacking than the people that have been publicizing Pizzagate have offered to the public. And yet they are just hysterically pushing this line. I mean,
imagine, I mentioned this to you before. Well, I remember I was 7 years old at the time, but this was a big thing to a couple of generations earlier, that during the Cuban Missile Crisis, Kennedy went on TV and he held these blow-ups, right? Which had been posted on poster boards of missile silos in Cuba, right?
Okay.
So you see this black rectangular blur?
Mm-hmm.
this is a missile silo, and it is aimed at the United States. And I'm thinking, back in those days, people tended to believe things that governments told them, right?
Yeah.
But this idea that, someone holds up a picture of, some blurry black rectangles, and, well, this obviously proves that, that Cuba's intending to attack the United States through the Soviet Union, right?
No, the Soviet Union's going to attack the United States through Cuba, I think this is what you meant to say.
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead. Yeah, I know, it's preposterous. Now, the thing is, I don't think they have any proof, and they've now extrapolated it to the point where now the FBI backs up the CIA.
I'm sorry. My point is that everyone bought Kennedy's explanation.
Right, yeah, okay.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So the explanation that Russia, which just a few years ago we were told that Russia was finished economically and was finished demographically, that in fact, literally, the Russian people were dying out. By 2060 or 2070, there would be no more Russians.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in just a few years, Putin has engineered this turnaround where Russia is in control of everything. That you'll remember that back in the 1970s, 1980s, that, you right-wingers with your crazy paranoid ideas about Russia, they just want a better life for their people, the Russian leaders, just like our leaders do. Do you want a nuclear war? Do you want nuclear winter? Do you want to extirpate life on this earth?
I actually saw a story in the Daily Mail where some Remainer was blaming the outcome of the Brexit vote on Russia now. Okay. So, I guess in retrospect, if the CIA, backed by the FBI and 17 other intelligence agencies, verify that the Russians did manipulate the election in the U.S., why not Brexit?
Well, no, I mean, this is a mirror image of Alex Jones. If you're going to make claims for which there is no credible evidence, there is no limit to the number of claims that you can make.
Well, it was funny. I saw one. You were pointing out this Yankovic guy. Yankovic, was it? Yeah, Yankovic guy who was
David Yankovic.
Yeah, making these bold statements like you're either a patriot or a traitor, one or the other.
And that Sweden is preparing for war with Russia. And I'm thinking, was he confusing Sweden with, say, Norway or Denmark? Because Sweden is the neutral country. Sweden has been neutral forever. Sweden didn't even take sides in the First World War, let alone the Second.
Yeah. And, he's making all these wild claims as well. And we had Eichenwald, of course, had the famous meltdown on Tucker Carlson, which was...
And then a literal meltdown.
Oh, yeah.
And we must be forever grateful that his wife had the presence of mind that he was flopping like a fish on the floor, that she went onto Twitter to say that you will pay. What was that guy's name? This ridiculous Jew Goldstein.
Yeah.
That Jew Goldstein, you're going to pay. We're going to catch you.
For sending a flashing GIF and triggering an epileptic
that is
fit.
really impressive multitasking when your husband is suffering a life-threatening event, that you have the presence of mind to go onto Twitter to threaten people with criminal prosecution.
That was the second action. The first action, of course, was alerting the police. Don't you understand? She had to alert the police and then threaten. Yeah, follow the order of operations here. This person was, obviously, he must have been in the ambulance or something.
I want to say something about Eichenwald here. I think he's a phony.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll give two examples of that. His name, Eichenwald, it's a name which is a Jewish name. Now, it's not one of those Jewish names like Newman or Stein, in which no one, there's lots of people named Stein or Newman who are Jewish, and there's lots of people who aren't, right? Eichenwald is an exclusively Jewish name. He claimed in an article in Vanity Fair that it was only in his 20s that he learned of the Jewish origins of his family. And I'm thinking, He went on about his epilepsy at great length, saying that, for 2 years he didn't take any steps to manage this. And during those times, he suffered hundreds of epileptic seizures. Well, for 50, 60 years or more, epilepsy medication has been available such that epileptics don't have very many seizures anymore. For someone to suffer hundreds of seizures in a 2-year period normally leads to profound brain damage and institutionalization. And I'll mention one last thing. That if you look at the world through an epileptic's eyes, and I'll just mention, I won't go into details, it's not really relevant. I know a little bit about epilepsy, okay?
Mm-hmm.
That if you look at the things that threaten epileptics, like bright flashing lights and something, we don't really pay much attention to bright flashing lights. If you're an epileptic, well, this is critical to you, right? So you learn defense mechanisms to avoid this. Otherwise, every time an ambulance went by you on the street, you'd be down on the ground flopping about like a fish. Every time you were watching a movie, when there was a scene in a nightclub where there was a strobe light, you'd be down on the ground flopping like a fish, right?
Yes. Okay.
So I just want to say, I just want to put this on the record that I find Kurt Eichenwald's, well, pretty much his entire stated history to be entirely dubious.
Okay. On the record, so stated. Well, now, of course, he's been hospitalized, I think. Isn't that what his wife was indicating?
Oh, I don't think that claim was made.
Oh, okay.
We'll have to look this up, but I don't recall that claim. See, the problem with that claim is, I don't want to get too cynical.
Yeah.
But if I were to tell you that I had an epileptic seizure today, you're in no position to argue with it, right?
Fair enough. Right.
In the same way that, if if I had a wife, said the same thing, you'd be in no position. When you're talking about someone being admitted to the hospital, there are records.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. Well, I'm sure that Mr. Goldstein is shaking in his boots. Okay, but that dominated the news. I mean, I guess we've, other things that are dominating.
This is, I have to sort of hand it to Kurt Eichenwald, that people were making these jokes on my Twitter feed that people in that position, they use the Hollywood excuse that they're suffering from exhaustion after the humiliation of the Tucker Carlson interview.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say, again, you hear people say, you gotta watch this, you gotta watch this, and people go, oh yeah, people say gotta all the time. If you want to see an interview and it lasts less than 10 minutes, which your jaw is going to be scraping the floor and you're going to be saying, how could this guy ever appear in public after such an interview? Watch Tucker Carlson's interview of Kurt Eichenwald.
You bet. And he'll be back, no doubt. A resilient man.
No, but the bigger picture here is David Yankovic, IC guy, right? Intelligence community.
Right, yeah.
Eichenwald, intelligence community. All of these, these connected guys, these CIA or otherwise intelligence connected guys, have revealed themselves to be idiots.
Mm-hmm. Whereas Grayson Steele, we just use a Ouija board.
Yeah, well, I was thinking about this. And there's been a long debate about, a very long debate from pretty much the beginning of spycraft. Like, is this witchcraft or does it have any practical value?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not talking about, signals intelligence, but human intelligence, right?
Okay.
Are these guys just making it up as they go along in order to get money?
Are you talking about us?
No, I'm talking about the intelligence community.
Oh, sorry.
So-called.
Yeah, okay.
Right?
Okay.
There's an oxymoron for you, right? The old joke?
Yeah.
Military intelligence. Yeah, there's an oxymoron.
Mm-hmm.
No, but the discussion that I've come across in recent days, you know Kubrick's movie 2001.
Space Odyssey. Yes, I've heard of it. Yeah. It's supposed to be pretty famous.
After Hal murders Frank, and then he tries to murder Dave, right? And you remember the rather extraordinary way that Dave actually manages to get back onto the ship, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when he gets back onto the ship, I mean, you see the picture of him, right?
Right, yeah.
Walking down the hallway. This is the most pissed off man you've ever seen in your life, right?
Right, yeah, yeah.
But, he's a scientist, and he's thinking, Hal's tried to kill me. I need to kill Hal. At the same time, he's thinking, if I kill Hal, then how will the ship continue to run? So then he starts working through, that he's thinking, how much of Hal can I disable such that the ship keeps running? And this is the question that people are having about the CIA now. How much of it can be disabled? How many buttons can we push, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that memory is disabled, but that the ship of national intelligence keeps running.
True enough, yeah. Well, there's people speculating that the CIA is completely irrelevant now. I just want to make another plug for our fundraiser here at this point. This is probably a good time to remind people that you can make specific donations. And if you want to donate money so that Kevin Grace can buy some new movies, please just mark your donation. God, buy some new movies, Grace.
What is this sort of reference to my Kubrick fixation?
Sorry. Yeah, I was just thinking about that. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, okay.
I can
That
talk
was a
about
joke,
other.
folks.
I can talk about other directors. I can
No, I
talk
was
about
talking
Scorsese. We can talk about his new movie about Shusaku Endo's novel. Okay, Silence. We can talk about that.
Yeah, well, I was making a joke, I mean, you don't have to get too huffy about it here. It is Christmas. Cut a man some slack, just because the Russians want us to be serious.
I'm not getting huffy.
Okay. Well,
you know what it's like when I get huffy, right?
yeah, you just don't answer the phone.
You don't know. You don't want that on the podcast when I get huffy.
Like I say, the common method is just not hearing from you. But we are, of course, we've got, coming close to an hour already, and have we covered everything?
Yeah, but we're going to keep going.
Are we?
We're going to keep going for a while.
We're going to keep singing Christmas carols? I've got a list of Christmas carols.
No, we're just going to keep going for a while because we haven't really... You promised our listeners that we were going to get away from politics, and that's all we've discussed in the first hour. So I think it would behoove us to speak of non-political topics.
Right.
Right?
But the shtick was that the Russians hacked our podcast, so that's why we were talking about politics. So to revert now, we would break character.
Have you ever heard of the expression beating a dead horse?
Yeah.
Okay.
In the case of Russians, it's a troika. No.
Yeah. Oh, that's very good. I like that.
Okay. Go ahead.
But so why don't we give some lighter stuff for our listeners here?
Sure. What kind of lighter stuff are you talking about in terms of personal anecdotes about Christmas or lighter news, perhaps?
Yeah. Well, why do we talk about Christmas?
Yeah. Okay. What you doing for Christmas, Kevin?
That's not a good question because I'm doing nothing. Let me ask you this question. When you were a child, what was the best Christmas present that you ever received?
The best. I think, well, there was a double up. It was 2 years in a row. We were very poor. I was a little guy. I think I was like 5. That meant we were all 2 years apart. I was one of 4 children. My older brother was 7. I was 5. My sister was 3. My youngest brother was 1. No, so it would have been a little older. I would have been 6 because my youngest brother could speak. And we were all given teddy bears, different teddy bears for Christmas. And I was given the little panda. And that panda, he was my constant companion for my childhood nights. And, of course, we all named them My older brother called his Goldie because it was a gold bear. Mine was called Blackie because he was a panda. My little sister's was Pink, and she called it Poof. And my little brother, who could barely speak, called his bear inexplicably Dakalaken. And okay. So immediately, my older brother, like that night, Christmas night, accidentally dropped Goldie in the toilet.
Accidentally.
Yeah, accidentally. Yeah.
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 Okay.
Oh yeah. Accidentally. Yeah, I remember because I was there. We were both using the toilet at the same time. That's little boys do sometimes. Anyways, let's not go too far down that road. The next year,
No, it's
we
funny.
were
It's funny.
poorer the next year.
It's funny. Sorry, go ahead.
We were poorer the next year, so my mother made clothes for our bears. That was our Christmas. Because we were really poor that year.
Wow, this is really getting kind of sad here.
No, that was great. We were really happy with that.
Okay.
It was
All
a really
right.
good Christmas. I'm talking about the best stuff I ever got.
I thought you were gonna, when I was a kid, about like 10 years old,
Mm-hmm.
for a few years, my parents subscribed to Reader's Digest.
Right.
And I used to go through, I used to read Reader's Digest. It had all these interesting things in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there was this story, that I believe this is a well-known story, kind of a famous story, the best Christmas gift I ever got. And it was the same thing, like it was the 1920s or the 30s and straitened circumstances. And,
Mm-hmm.
I wanted a bicycle or something like that. And what I got was a box. It was a cardboard box. And it was a strange cardboard box because it was long, but it was very, very narrow, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I opened it up, and there were these sheets of these purple-colored paper, right? Too long, didn't read. It was copy paper, right? This doesn't mean anything to young people, but secretaries used to put copying paper before Xerox machines when they would type things up, and sometimes they would use 2, 3, or 4, and so you could have multiple copies of the same document, right?
Right. Yep.
And I believe these were copy pages which had been used once. And so they were not pristine, but kind of pristine. And so this kid got this box and he thought, well, what's this? Then he discovered that, if he put it down on something and ran a sharp object or pen or a pencil over it, the writing would appear on the other side. And I remember reading this in 1965 when I was 10 years old and thinking, wow, children were easily amused in those days.
Okay. So back at you. What was the best present that you ever got? Don't say copy paper.
No, it wasn't copy paper. I got a hockey set.
Table hockey?
Those table hockey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I got a table hockey set. And I don't know.
I used to be pretty good at that.
Yeah, I used to be quite good at it. Actually, I will say that, here's my boast, okay? That approximately 1976, I played in a Vancouver-wide tournament of table hockey, and I finished 6th, okay? So let's just say I was pretty good at table hockey, right? So when I was, like 8 or 9 years old, I got a table hockey set, and I was stunned. Because, as I say, I came from a large family, and we didn't have a lot of money, and I never really expected that I would get a gift as good as this. I could barely believe it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what happened was that my younger brother, stomped on it and destroyed it a few days later.
But for a brief shining moment.
But a brief shining moment. No, this is the same younger brother that I used to make models of planes.
Mm-hmm.
You remember when that was a thing?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was still a kid when that was still a thing. So
that people used to buy the kits.
Yeah.
They'd buy the kits, and you'd use the glue, and you'd put them together, and they had the decals that you put on them. And I was very big on First and Second World War stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The P-51 Mustang was my favorite plane. But also like Spads, from the First World War, that kind of thing. And I used to build these, and it took some, a little skill to put them together, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I used to hang them from my ceiling with fishing line.
Yeah.
And then my younger brother Christopher would come in and like destroy them. And to this day, it's a mystery to me why I didn't murder him.
Oh, okay.
No, it really is like a mystery to me, because when you are that young, and you know when you have these things that mean so much to you, right?
Yeah.
And then like someone destroys them, and you think that person must die. But somehow he escaped murder.
Right. And he lived on and became, and now you know the rest of the story.
Yeah, now you know the rest of the story. Yeah.
Now he just runs around swinging baseball bats at jets that fly through the air.
Hey, I saw something on Ryan Landry's site, which made me think that it was, that keep calm and blah, 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 whatever, mem, right?
Okay.
It starts from the Second World War, keep calm and, go forward, kill the Nazis, whatever, right?
Mhm.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't you?
No. But go ahead.
The whole keep calm mem?
I don't know it, but
Has that entirely escaped you?
It is. It has, yeah.
Okay, well, there was this one, it was like, keep calm and let's forget about how, like Christmas fills us with anxiety.
Uh-huh.
Now, I don't know, I'm guilty of this myself, and I will shamefacedly admit it, that I'm not very good about Christmas, certain memories in the past or whatever, right? I won't go into the details, I don't want to. I don't want to assault our listeners, but
I had violin music queued up for this. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
There's something odd about this, that you notice that this has become very mainstream. Oh, Thanksgiving, American Thanksgiving. Oh, Christmas. Oh, this is such a trial, right?
Yeah.
When did it become acceptable for people's personal feelings like to wreck everyone else's enjoyment of a celebration?
Well, I think that was that rose up with the ascension of social media as a communicative
No,
tool.
well before social media.
I don't know. You could probably trace it to some movie or something. I don't know. I mean, there's always trouble at holidays, but I've never had any trouble with it. I've always enjoyed Christmas, even though, it's never been perfect. Although, you do what you can to make it good.
No, I'll tell you something about Christmas, which especially people with children understand, is that children are now hypnotized by television. And they watch this goes back several decades. They watch television and they learn that they demand to get certain gifts. And their parents, tote up the amount of money they have available for Christmas, and they think, how about if I don't get you that Rockin' Rangers thing that everyone's talking about on television?
Mm-hmm.
How about if we get you the Dockin' Rangers thing, right?
Yeah.
The knockoff, the cheap knockoff, right?
Yeah. Well, that's actually got a lot of those when I was young.
So you open up your Christmas present. Oh my God! It's going to be Rockin' Rangers. It's going to be Rockin'. No, it's what? Dockin' Rangers, right? No, it's just my experience is that if you build Christmas up to be this day when all your wildest dreams are going to be made true, you're always going to be disappointed, right?
I guess so. Unless your wildest dreams come true.
Well, no, but no one's wildest dreams ever come true because people's wildest dreams are always unattainable.
Well, I dreamed of a Johnny West and got it one year, So.
Did you? Did you?
I got the Johnny West.
Yeah.
It wasn't the teddy bear was better because, everybody.
No, but
can relate to that.
I mean, the modern Christmas has been, it's not just that Christmas has become materialist. This is an ancient complaint going back to, well, at least the first, the Charlie Brown Christmas special, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But this idea that Christmas is about greed and your greedy dreams being fulfilled.
Okay.
But the strange thing to me, I was disappointed as a child Christmas most of the time. But then, I look at it as an adult and I think, well, I wouldn't even remembered all this stuff that I would have loved to have got when I was a kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, who cares,
Right.
But now it's become a mainstream thing for these people to essentially assault the world and say, yeah, what are you going to make of that? I didn't get what I wanted for Christmas, and this has scarred me. This has ruined my appreciation of Christmas. And I'm thinking, yeah, so you think that's what Christmas is about? Seriously? I mean, it's not just that children are irrational, right?
Mm-hmm.
Children will burst into tears at the slightest provocation. But the weird thing to me as an adult is that adults are willing to burst into tears at the provocation of being reminded that when they were 8 years old, they didn't get the present they wanted.
Yes, but this is the victim culture, and this is the unseriousness of the age, and that is changing. By the way, I just wanted to mention that the big thing at that Trump rally, he had Merry Christmas written across the podium, and he made sure that he wished everybody a Merry Christmas as soon as he got on stage. First thing. And he did it in a defiant way, which I found somewhat refreshing because, of course, the whole downplaying of Christmas that's been assaulting us over
the war against Christmas, as they call it at VDARE.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. So
no, but he had made a point of saying that when I become president, people will wish each other Merry Christmas again. And I have noticed there has been a reaction against the secularization of the holiday. Secularization to the point where we're not even going to use the word Christmas anymore.
yeah.
But it seems to me there has been a healthy reaction against this, and I noticed, let's say, with the classical music sites, with Decca and Deutsche Grammophon and sites like that, I was rather shocked to find out that they all say Christmas, right?
Right.
Like, Deutsche Grammophon, Decca is part of one of the big three.
Right.
Music industry, right? And, well, no, they don't want to offend anyone. And I was quite pleased to find out that they use the word Christmas in their salutations.
Yeah, well, I think it's the reaction has been going on for quite a while, and I think it's starting to dawn on retailers that, you got to get people excited about Christmas in order to get them in the spirit to shop. Because if you don't have any Christmas spirit, you're not going to, free up those dollars that you really can't afford to spend on anybody else to buy things for anybody else, right? I mean, it's because it's Christmas, especially the last week before Christmas, that everybody goes, oh, what the heck, I'll pay it off in January, slap down the plastic, right? Because it's Christmas. There's kind of this wild spree thing that goes on just before. And if you don't have any Christmas spirit, you don't do that. And
do you know the movie Miracle on 47th Street?
Was it 47th Street?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And the gag is cutting off all her hair, right, for money, and then the wig resulting, right? Well, the idea
I think it was 34.
that...
Are you talking about 34th Street?
Sorry, Miracle on 34th Street.
Right,
Yes,
okay,
of course. But the gag was, one person cuts her hair off and this results in a wig, right?
Right, yeah.
And this is hopeful to me, that the idea that Christmas is some sort of this tremendous orgasm of spending where no one ends up happy because no one ever gets what they want, and everyone... when the credit card bills come in January, everyone goes, ugh.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. But, there's a bit of a glow, too. The glow lasts a while. Till at least, the end of January.
Well, I have to say, I was at a gathering of people last night. And the fellow whose house the gathering took place at, that other people had drinks and he didn't have any drink. This is alcoholic drinks. And he said because he was observing Advent. And I thought this was really admirable and rather difficult because, for decades now, the Christmas celebrations have begun. What was it on Community? It was December the 10th or something, right?
Yeah.
Where Shirley was saying,
It's Christmas.
On this holy day, and Jeff said, it's December the 10th,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Well, no, the thing to do when you look at Christmas in a religious sense, that the Christmas festival begins at sundown on December the 24th. Before that is Advent, which is a penitential season.
Mhm.
And I was joking with this guy, well, this is, I really admired what he was doing. Because what happens to most of us is the Christmas parties begin in the first week of December, so that by the time that Christmas happens, December 25th, most of us are festivaled out, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've had close to a month of partying, and this whole idea that, the 12 days of Christmas, the Christmas feast, beginning on December the 25th, it's like, I'm so sick of feasting.
Mm-hmm.
And, so that Christmas itself has been expunged. And I have to say that I took away from this that this fellow, a stronger man than I, decided that he was not going to take part in any Christmas festival-related things until it was actually Christmas. Well, that was pleasing to me, I must say that.
Mm-hmm. But we won't think any better of you just because you admired him. We still think you're a bad person. For
What? What?
I just,
Huh?
Because
Where are we going with this?
I'm insulting you. You are admiring him and saying what a good thing it is.
This is Igor again. You Westerners, you with your Western Christmas, you with your bogus calendar, okay? Christmas begin January 6th. You have fake Christmas, just like your fake country, your fake politics. This is why Vladimir Putin has been put onto Earth to set you right.
Listen, you Julian calendar dope. Get with the times. 400 years of Gregorian beauty. That's the calendar we go by. It works. That's why we use it. Anyways.
Who is scared of whom now? Huh? Oh, you speak of Julian and Gregorian. You should speak of Vladimirian, okay? Because he is Emperor of New World now.
Yeah, well, we'll see about that. We've got how many days till Trump comes in, and he'll negotiate that for us on our behalf. But anyways,
And he will give us the best negotiation because he's the best negotiator. Everyone knows it.
yeah,
Right?
Exactly. Anyways, okay, so I guess we're going to call that our Christmas program for now. We do want to, again, remind everybody that we do have a Christmas fundraiser underway, similar to the one we did last year, where we try to get a little money for the podcast that we do faithfully, although we have been out of sync here in the last little while for reasons that will go unexplained. But we are back, and if you want to, make Kevin Michael Grace's Christmas happy, you just throw a little money in the pot if you're feeling generous.
I'll just mention one thing. Kevin Steele is too modest to mention this, but the microphone that I use to record this show is not, shall we say, optimal. All right? Because it basically, if someone is yelling too loud a block away, this gets picked up by my microphone.
If somebody burps a block away.
Yeah. So that if we had, like, say, the same microphone that he has, this would mean that my broadcasting partner, Kevin, who is wholly responsible for all the post-production work, and I don't want to bore you with how many hours this is, but
No,
it's
go
a
ahead.
lot.
Go ahead.
No, okay, I will bore you. It just never ends, okay? He's just looking at these waveforms that he can't get to sleep at night because he's hypnotized by waveforms, okay?
Yeah.
But if we had the proper kind of microphone to do this kind of show, then our friend, little Kevin Steele, could go to sleep at night not being traumatized by bad waveforms.
Yeah. Well, mostly it's like you say, it's somebody coughing a block away, or perhaps you just turning around in your chair. For some reason or other, it sounds like you're being slammed onto the floor. But
No, I'll just say this.
Take that out.
I'll just say. I'll mention one last thing that I have been. This sounds ridiculous, but it is actually true. That I have tried to teach myself not to move in my chair. To sit perfectly still in my chair, because I know that every time I shift just a little bit to the left or the right, this involves, this creates these horrible sonic anomalies which must be removed post-production.
Oh, it's true. It is true. That's for sure. Hey, I just got my bells here, my Christmas bells, and I did write a little song for our Christmas special, and I'm going to do that now to the end of the show. Are we at the end of the show? Is there something else you wanted to go on about?
I think we're there.
Okay, here goes. Russians... Oh, okay, let's start that again. Russians hacked our Christmas show, took our joy away. Now we're talking politics right up to Christmas Day. Eichen, Walden, Joffe, Yankovic, and Frum seem to think this Christmas should be blown to kingdom come. Yay, how's that?
It's pretty good, but I do have a final message from our friend Igor.
Oh, yeah.
From Nizhny Novgorod.
Right.
Okay, just wait. Here he comes, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I make joke earlier about how, we enemy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we hate each other? No, but we don't hate each other. We are actually on same side, right?
Right.
We mostly believe in same things.
Mm-hmm.
So this is my Christmas message to you. We don't celebrate Christmas on same day, but we believe in same things so that this unity is good, right?
Right. And if we like you, we get 2 Christmases. Yeah. How about that?
Yeah. Actually, that's not a joke, because there's a lot of like Ukrainian Catholics and such like in Canada who actually do celebrate 2 Christmases.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a good deal. Let's give the Russians a chance. Let's give peace a chance. It is that time of year, folks.
It is. Jesus Christ was the Prince of Peace.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the thought that I would like to leave with our listeners.
Exactly. So, with that, we're going to call an end to the Christmas show, episode 65 of Grace and Steel. I'm Kevin Steele.
And I'm Kevin Michael Grace.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.